Hi, welcome to IKEA.
This is my college campus.
Correct, but I see you're on IKEA.com ordering some college items.
My daughter's room is pretty bare. We need a lamp, some comfy pillows, her favorite stuffy.
Dad!
With pickup options, we've got what you need to conveniently order IKEA. Literally anywhere.
Sweet. More time for gaming.
And studying. Wait, where are you going now?
Got to show the ultimate Frisbee team how easy it is to order from IKEA. Get IKEA whenever, wherever, however you want. Choose from thousands of pickup locations, affordable delivery options, and more.
Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs. But luckily, there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku. And it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
Your burger is served, and this is our finest Pepsi Zero Sugar. Its sweet profile perfectly balances the savory notes of your burger.
That is one perfect combination. Burgers deserve Pepsi.
Day one done, and a day of firsts here at Wimbledon. We'll round up the first win, the first British win, the first seed to fall on the hottest first day of the championships of all time. We are here at the All England Club. I'm John.
And I'm Michael. And British qualifier Oliver Tarvet is bang on target. He books a second round spot with Carlos Alcaraz, and I caught up with his dad.
This is Anything But Footy from Wimbledon 2025, but we are the Olympic and Paralympic Podcast, so we also have athletics, sport climbing, sailing and snow sport news from the games.
The weather for snow sport news, isn't it?
It would be nice. We did have an ice cream this afternoon, which was quite pleasant, to be fair, and the strawberries have been okay.
Yeah,
and
nice.
A little watery, maybe?
Yeah, I did spill quite a bit of one all down myself at lunch. Rather see the remnants of it there on my shorts.
Can't take him anywhere. Now, a day of firsts here at Wimbledon, as I say, in sweltering conditions, baking sunshine. British qualifier became the first British man into round two. Yes, 21-year-old Oliver Tarvet, whose coach we spoke to in the last episode of the podcast, well worth going back and listening to that if you haven't, rolled into round two of the championships with a straight set 6-4, 6-4, 6-4 win over fellow qualifier Leandro Riedi of Switzerland, without dropping a break point in 2 hours 18 minutes. It was impressive stuff on court number 4. We knew he had the determination to win from a young age, but he shoe that again, of course, in front of hundreds of thousands, on the telly anyway, hundreds of delighted Wimbledon watchers, and his dad, Gary, as well, who you had a chat with.
Yeah, we went over, didn't we, just to see the climax of the match. As you say, it was a really impressive performance. And then, just coincidentally from where we were stood, Oliver Tarvet came over right towards us, actually. And the reason was because his kind of support group, his family, his coaches from San Diego, where he's based, and his father obviously was there as well. So he came over just to kind of have a bit of a hug with the family and the friends. And afterwards, we just grabbed a quick word with his dad, as you say, Gary.
It's just an amazing feeling to witness your son play at that level, and I've watched them a lot over the years, and I think USD, University of San Diego, have just done a magnificent job with him. 3 years of high quality training, 4 hours a day, and you kind of see the result out there. I mean, he didn't look out of place, from my opinion anyway, and it's just a college tennis player.
And what's it like for you sat there courtside? How much can you watch? How much can you enjoy it?
Well, I'd say I learnt a lot from my coach. Stuart is beside me, who looked after him through these A-levels, and his advice was your only job is to stay calm. He's got enough cartwheels going through his stomach. He doesn't want you sort of, the same. And so we stay calm, and I felt good watching him. And we're here just to reaffirm and just keep everything going for him, yeah.
And how is he? How was he this morning? How was he last night?
Well, we stayed away as a family because it can be a bit of a circus, so we left it to the pros to look after him, and we take a back seat and let them fire it up and, lock in.
And typical sport question, but one match at a time, but how far can he go? I know we're just going to look at the second round now.
Well, the second round could be rather interesting, and it might be a step up from playing in front of 600 or 700 people. It might be several thousand next time round, so Yeah, we just feet on the ground. It's the same process. It's a tennis match. He serves one game, he returns another game, and that's the way we have to look at it. It's just another tennis match.
Well done, and pass on our congratulations to Oliver as well. Thank you.
So Michael talking to Gary after Oliver Tarvet's win. He will play Carlos Alcaraz. It was a close-run thing on centre court, which included a delay because of illness in the crowd. We say it's the hottest Wimbledon ever, and not surprised that people have been unwell here today. But he beat Fabio Fognini, the 38-year-old Italian, former world number 9, in 5 sets. He needed to go all the way to win in the 5th set, the defending champion. But he's through, so it probably means Oliver Tarvet, centre court, number 1 court, Wednesday against Carlos Alcaraz?
Yeah, I mean, obviously TV will have a say, I think, in the scheduling of that one. They'll want to put it on when the maximum amount of people can be watching it. But I think, and we kind of had a chat there, didn't we, as we said, with the dad, with his dad. I think we kind of predicted that it's going to be centre court. And where he was today, the court he was on today, you can actually just see to the left of that court, centre court, which looms high above us. And as we were talking and having that chat, all eyes were turning to that centre court, knowing that was the probable location. And it's interesting as well because we went to a little sort of briefing that Oliver gave afterwards as well. I had a little listening to what he was saying, and he was just talking about the fact that I know he's ranked 719 in the world, but that's kind of a false ranking because he's in this collegiate system in San Diego at the moment. So as we understand it, he will turn professional in another year's time, and I think you will see him rocket up those rankings very quickly. But the briefing was really interesting, what he was saying in that. Of course, he was very, very complimentary of the setup and the system in San Diego and what that is doing. As we were hearing there from his dad as well, he was talking about the impact that his family have had, even though they left him alone last night and this morning. He was talking about how supportive, super supportive his parents have been. And remember, there's Wimbledon pasts where we've talked about players and parents many times in not such glowing terms, by the way. And he was talking about his routine. So he says he likes to get up early, have an early breakfast, then come down and do a physical preparation and then a mental preparation as well. And one of the things that he said that was really interesting, he says he likes journaling. So manifesting, writing things down. So if you do watch that Alcaraz match, on which we think will be on centre court on Wednesday, just have a little look, because he says he brings a little notebook out with him and he just writes things down as he goes, which is a really interesting approach, I think. So he just says, I just like to kind of just keep my thoughts, and I will do that during matches as well. I thought, listening to him, having that little sort of briefing with some of the British press and stuff, spoke very, very well, very mature, very intelligent. So what I would say is don't get too hung up on this, he's the worst player ever to play at Wimbledon because of his world ranking. That's just a situation of circumstances.
And what he said on the whole fact that he's got to play Alcaraz likely next, and his victory today in straight sets, was that he's just enjoying it. Yeah. He's here. He said, I dream of Wimbledon as a kid. It's something you dream of. It's a long-term goal, but for it to happen so suddenly is pretty special. And that's the thing. Before the qualifying last week, he'd never really played on grass, and he's won 3 qualifying matches at Roehampton. He's now come to Wimbledon and really destroyed his opponent, Riady. I think he described him as a wall. The Riady said his opponent, Tarvet, was like a wall because he just couldn't get anything past him and gave him nothing. And he says, I'm quietly confident I can beat anyone. I just go out there and play the ball, not the player. Yeah, and the other thing that he clarified, which I thought was interesting, was this situation over prize money, because technically as an amateur, he can't claim the prize money. So £99,000 is the prize money were he to lose to Carlos Alcaraz in round 2. But what he said, and I thought this was really interesting, because you don't normally get this level of detail from players, do you? He's saying that basically if he can write off £89,000 of that as expenses by December this year. So this is where he kind of joked that he was going to get a private jet for his coach back to San Diego. I'm sure he's not going to do that. He's going to write them off on other expenses, because as he said, he made the point that becoming a professional tennis player is a very expensive occupation to travel around the world to get on the circuit. And so that $99,000 will come in handy, but he obviously needs to spend that as expenses. He can't necessarily claim it as prize money, because as an amateur he can only claim £10,000. And he also said that he was able to have a couple of little personal sponsorships and endorsements, and I wonder whether the old phone will be ringing tonight and tomorrow, knowing he's going to be
on centre court probably, and on the television in a couple of days. I wonder whether he might have a couple more little adornments to the top.
Back in the day, I remember the Sun sponsoring Greg Rosetsky when Greg got through to the semi-final on the way to the quarterfinals, semi-finals of the US Open. And you want someone to quickly realise this is the person we need to sponsor. How can we do that?
Yeah, and I think that those conversations may happen if that's allowed. And he was saying, obviously, they do have within the collegiate system, the amateur system, they do have a kind of a little bit of a deal where you can sort of sell off a little bit of your personal image rights as well. But do you know what? He was asked a lot about prize money and he was asked about sponsorships, and he was very open, very candid, very honest. But I don't imagine that he is there tonight sat tucking into his tea thinking about the money. I think he's probably just thinking, I went to Wimbledon today. I played really well when I could have froze and been nervous, and I've got something now, having probably sat down and watched that 5-setter that Alcaraz has just finished, and gone, do you know what? I've got the most mouth-watering second round clash, and I'm going to enjoy that. And the 99,000 and how the accountants work some of that out as expenses and that what remains as prize money, that's for another day.
2 hours 18 minutes it took him to progress to the second round. It took Carlos Alcaraz 4.5 hours to beat Fognini, and I'm not saying that will have any impact on Wednesday because Alcaraz is on a roll. 19 matches now unbeaten at the moment. It's his longest streak as the world number 2. He's the defending Wimbledon champion. He's the French Open champion. And of course, if he wins Wimbledon this year, for the second year running, he will do the French and Wimbledon double. Now, only one other person has done that, and that was Bjorn Borg, and he did it 3 times in 78, 79, 80. So we're on the verge of Carlos Alcaraz potentially becoming the new, I think in this country he's already the new face of tennis, but he could become the person that dominates, I think, potentially tennis for the next few years.
Yeah, I just want to point out, if you can hear some sort of strange, they sound a bit like wheezing noises behind us, don't they? Where we are stood here at the club is right by the players' entrance. So basically the players get driven in some Range Rovers. They're
electric vehicles though, aren't they?
Yeah, the Range Rovers park in a car park over the way, and then they come in on these kind of golf buggies, these little electric vehicles. So we're watching one come past us now. So they're like little sort of, look a little bit like toys, don't they? Yeah. And you get sort of 4 or 5 players in the background, and at the minute we've got someone stood in front of one, which is why you've just heard the horn been honked, and then the players just go past where we are, go round to the left-hand side, and they get dropped off there.
But just quickly on Alcaraz, just to finish, the fact that we were like, he's the French defending champion, he's the Wimbledon defending champion, and he won Queens as well. Has anyone ever done those 3?
Yeah, that was our research this morning on the train in.
And we sat there and we worked out, obviously, that John McEnroe had done Queens and Wimbledon, Andy Murray had done the same, but only one person has done the French, Queens and Wimbledon in the same year, and that was Rafa Nadal in 2008. So this is what I mean about Alcaraz. We're that close. But look, Tarvet could cause an upset.
Yeah. Well, I mean, today what you saw was Tarvet playing, I mean, we've not seen a great deal of him, but you imagine playing some of his best tennis. And what we saw was Alcaraz playing sort of below his best. And, to use a FA Cup analogy, when the big team plays a lower league team, if the big team don't bring their A game, and the lower ranked team, the lower league team, so in this case, the lower ranked player in Tarvet, does play to his potential, then there's a match on the cards. And what we will know as well, if it is on centre court or a show court, and it will be, is you're going to have a very partisan crowd in there as well. As much as I think, as you were saying, the British love Alcaraz, they will love the idea of this world-ranked 719 Brit.
We know what Wimbledon crowds are like because they loved Roger Federer, and sometimes the crowd even would support Roger Federer ahead of any other British player. I think Andy Murray changed that slightly, but they kind of be a bit like that, Wimbledon, though. They get their favourites stuck in their heads as a crowd.
I think, and we know, because we were in that little briefing today, we know that when you pick the newspapers up on Wednesday morning, and all those people coming here to SW19 will be getting their free copies of the Metro on the tube, the big double page spread is all going to be about Oliver Tarvet, the background, where he comes from, the money situation, everything else that we've just spoken about.
They need to listen to our podcast.
That will be, I think, that will be the big splash in the papers, and maybe some of those people coming in with the Times or the Observer or whatever it is tucked under their arm might then start getting behind our boy and all of that.
Well, we wish Oliver Tarvet well, and his dad, of course, Gary, and the rest of the family as well.
Shopping is hard.
I can never find anything in my size.
I don't even know my size.
I buy my clothes the same place I buy my groceries.
There's a better way. Make it easy with Stitch Fix. Just share your size, style, budget, and done. Your personal stylist sends pieces picked just for you.
That was easy.
Stitch Fix. Online personal styling for everyone. Free shipping and returns. No subscription required. Get started today at stitchfix.com.
This is Anything But Footy, the Olympic and Paralympic Sport podcast. So what were the other first day headlines? You said it was a day of firsts.
Yeah, so day of firsts indeed. Really hot, as we mentioned, but one match was over really quite quickly. The first victory of the day came on court number 15. Donna Vekic, last year's semi-finalist, of course, from Croatia, beat Kimberly Birrell 6-love, 6-4, and then had to fight her way through the crowds.
Sorry, I'm just distracted because another one of those golf carts has just come past us and the door's open, and I'm just worried that one of the players was going to fall out. Sorry, I was distracted.
But Donna Vekic had to fight her way through the crowd,
yeah,
because there were so many people here just to get away from court number 14, didn't she?
Yeah, well, that's the great thing. I mean, we talked in the previous edition about the expansion of this place, and I think if they do expand, what you might lose is that little opportunity to get up close and personal with some of the players, because if you are on court number 14, one of the outside courts, it's not an outside court, it's smack bang in the middle of the complex. What you have to do is have to come back, and then to get back to the players' dressing rooms and stuff, you do have to run the gauntlet a bit. And, to be fair, they put the security team around her. We know how important that is for player welfare. But yeah, she seemed pretty happy stopping, signing some autographs. We saw her signing a baseball cap and posing for plenty of selfies as well. She made a lot of people's day, that's what I would say.
First British win came from Sonny Cartel, the 23-year-old from Sidcup. A year ago, she was 298 in the world rankings. She's now in the top 50. Got there a couple of weeks ago. She had a tough match on paper against Yelena Ostapenko and started off really well, but then Ostapenko kind of fought back. 7-5, 2-6, 6-2 was how Sonny Cartel progressed to the second round. She now plays Victoria Tomova next, and Tomova reached the second round because unfortunately Ons Jabeur, the two-time runner-up, had to retire hurt on court number 15, or I think it was next door to the Vekic match. So Sonny Cartel safely into the second round, was the first British winner.
Elsewhere, first seed to go, you mentioned?
Yeah, Danny Medvedev has gone, the 9th seed, the men's 9th seed. He was the first seed to fall. Again, a disappointing result, I think, for him, generally. You would expect him to usually progress, and he has done at Wimbledon and had some good tournaments in the last few years here at Wimbledon. But he was beaten quite convincingly, unfortunately, today. He lost in 4 sets to Benjamin Bonzi of France.
And it's been, as you say, the hottest first day ever. I'm wondering whether I might borrow one of these golf carts and give me a lift back to the tube station.
It's going to be a hot walk with a lot of people. 32.3 Celsius was the record temperature at 4 o'clock this afternoon when Alcaraz was playing. Raducanu was about to come on. So very, very hot conditions. 14
Brits in the draw today. I mean, as we record, you've still got the likes of Emma Raducanu, who's in action,
and Bolter,
obviously against another Brit as well, and Katie Bolter. But from the results that we do know briefly,
so we talked Tarvet and Cartel. Cam Norrie won. Again, he started off really, really well against Roberto Batistuta Agut of Spain, but he lost the second set 3-6, but then came through to win the third 6-4 and the fourth 7-6. So Cameron Norrie is through. Arthur Ferry had his biggest ever win, knocking out the 20th seed Alexander Popyrin of Australia. It's always good to knock the Australians out, isn't it, at Wimbledon? So Arthur Ferry winning that one, and Billy Harris also won straight sets victory against lucky loser Dusan Lovjic of Serbia, 6-3, 6-2, 6-4. Unfortunately, defeats for the youngest player in the women's draw, which is 16-year-old Hannah Klugman. She was beaten by Leylah Fernandez, the 29th seed, and you may recognise her name, Leylah Fernandez, because she was the person that Emma Raducanu beat for the US Open title in 2021. And so she's the 29th seed. Emma Raducanu's in the top 30. They're not that different, and we give Emma Raducanu so much grief for not performing. But anyway, unfortunately, Hannah Klugman's out. So was Oliver Crawford. And disappointingly, Jacob Fernley, the British number 2, straight sets defeat to João Fonseca, who I did think would have a good tournament, the Brazilian 18-year-old. We've mentioned him a lot.
Tomorrow, what's the order of play?
Yeah, okay, so tomorrow, it's quite interesting because, as we mentioned in the pod yesterday, Barbara Kvechova is the defending champion, and she will be opening up
Ladies' Day.
Yes, on centre court for Ladies' Day against the Eastbourne runner-up, Iala, as I mentioned yesterday. But we've had 8 different women win the last 8 Wimbledon titles. So Kvechova obviously last year, Vondrousova the year before that, Rybakina a year before that, Barty in 2021, Halep in 2019, Kerber in 2018, Muguruza in 2017, and then Serena Williams the last time she won it, 2016. That's a lot of different winners.
You should go on Pointless.
It was a stat from IBM. I can take no credit from that, but Kvechova kicks us off on centre court. And then, interestingly, no Jack Draper on centre court. They have gone with the 7-time winner Novak Djokovic. He's second on centre against Alexander Muller on centre court, and then Coco Gauff, the second seed for the women in their draw, of course, is on centre court. As I mentioned, Jack Draper is third on number 1 court against Sebastian Baez, who we've been talking about in the last couple of episodes. He will play after Sinner takes on Nardi, the fellow Italian, and Kvitova, former champion here, of course, against Navarro of the USA, the 10th seed. So lots of different names, I think, tomorrow, and of course another 11 Brits will be in action as well. How many will go through? We've got the likes of Heather Watson, Dan Evans plays Jay Clark, Jodie Burridge is up against Kat McNally of the USA, and then a couple of Joneses. Can we keep up with the Joneses on the 17th, court 17? If you're here at Wimbledon tomorrow, 3rd and 4th, Fran Jones, the 24-year-old from Bradford, is in action, and then Jack Pinnington Jones, no relation, obviously, the 22-year-old from Kingston in southwest London, is against Thomas Etcheverry. So it'll be interesting to see how the Brits do on day 2 and how many will have left come day 3 and day 4, along with Oliver Tarvet and Carlos Alcaraz.
And we'll keep you up to date, of course, over the next couple of weeks with what is going on.
On the socials, make sure you're checking on
those.
those.
You can find us, of course, on Instagram, on Facebook, on X, on LinkedIn as well. So we'll keep you up to date there. It's been good to be here for a couple of days and looking forward to returning soon as well. Just away from the tennis momentarily, a few other bits and pieces of news. We'll start with some athletics. If you were listening yesterday, you know that Great Britain and Northern Ireland were in the European Team Championships in Madrid. They finished 5th. So they stay in the first division. Some day 3 performances to pick out. In the women's steeplechase, Sarah Tate, first senior international appearance for her. She finished 2nd. Reve Walcott-Nolan finished 3rd in the 1500 metres. A 3rd place finish for Toby Harris in the 200 metres, stepping down from 400, which is Toby's normal distance. Scott Lincoln 4th in the shot put, and a return as well for Jasmine Sawyers, who's coming back from that really nasty injury. She jumped 6 metres 75, finished 6th in the long jump. And to bring the curtain down on the event, Sam Reardon, Lena Nielsen, Toby Harris and Emily Newman all finished. Of course, in the mixed relay, they finished 3rd in that event. And also today, Athletics Ventures, which is this group management company between London Marathon, Great Run Company, and British Athletics, have announced a new headline sponsor, which is Navuna, which is a sort of financial services company. And they will now be the headline sponsor for some of those big, or the calendar of big British athletics events. So indoor championships, outdoor championships, London meeting, and all the rest of them. So, yeah. Money into the coffers for British athletics, amongst others.
Now, we mentioned it's the hottest ever first day of Wimbledon, so we need to cool ourselves down. Let's talk about GB SnowSport.
Yeah, GB SnowSport have said that Gus Kenworthy is coming back onto the programme. He's been named as part of the squad for the 2025-2026 season. So basically, after the last Winter Olympics, stepped away, 3.5 years out, but with another Winter Games just around the corner, opportunities to qualify. And, we went to the summit last week where we met quite a lot of the hopefuls, Team GB hopefuls. So Gus Kenworthy trying to get back on the programme and trying to qualify. We've got high hopes and probably high expectations about GB SnowSport and what their medals might be, albeit we know, we spoke to Eve Muirhead, didn't we? It's unpredictable, snow and ice sports. Staying just with the Olympics, sport climbing, Olympic champion Toby Roberts won World Cup gold in the boulder in Innsbruck. He's talked publicly about some sort of struggles he's had since the Olympic Games. I remember you were obviously there doing the commentary on Talk Sport. It hasn't all gone his own way. It's been difficult, I think, adjusting to life as a teenager, as an Olympic gold medalist. But yeah, back on top of the podium there. And British sailing, we've had Kiel Week and 3 boats claimed medals there. Saskia Tidey and Freya Black in the 49er FX won gold. Martin Wrigley and Bettine Harris won a gold in the 470 class. And John Jimson and Anna Burnett, who of course were both at the Olympics in Paris in the NACRA at 17, they also won a medal.
Congratulations to all them. So day 2 of Wimbledon is coming up, but day 1 is done. Tomorrow, it's Draper time.
So I'm off to see if I can grab a golf cart and get myself a lift back to the tube station. Don't forget, you can always follow us across all the social media platforms. You can find us on Threads, on X, on Insta. You can also find us over on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. You can still listen to our playlist on Spotify. I'm not sure John's added Sydney 2000
I've been slightly busy
from John Williamson just yet, but keep listening in for that one. And don't forget, of course, you can always read more, watch more and hear more about what we do at our website, anythingbutfooty.com. This is Anything But Footy, the Olympic and Paralympic podcast, where we cover the games all the time, not just once every 4 years.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams 4th of July sale and get 30% off paints and stains June 27th through July 7th. With prices starting at $34.29, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.